So welcome everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good mid-morning, whatever time it is with you. Hope you're having a good day. We've had a good day. It's great to see you, and thanks for finding the time to join us. This is another of the ICE webinar series. This one's actually entitled the ICE member benefits. During this session, we'll be focusing specifically on two member benefits, two of our new member benefits, which is the ICE GRM Challenge 2021, which is the first time we've launched the GRM Challenge, and also our new partnership with Unibuddy. So we'll be joined by panelists to speak about both of those things, who I'll introduce in a second. But before we get into the meat of it, as it were, I'd just like to take a couple of minutes just to provide a little bit of background as to the ICE and the member benefits. And essentially, those people that have known the ICE for many years will have seen it evolving. Those that are new to it, I'll provide a little bit of history. So if we go way back to 2004, when the ICE was founded, essentially the ICE was created as a quality assurance organisation. So it was created to quality assure the quality of education in higher education institutions, specifically those offering tourism, hospitality, events, culinary arts. So it's quite a traditional quality assurance agency. We established the standards of the ICE, and then we went globally from there, accrediting institutions internationally. So as I say, it's quite a traditional approach. But early on in in our evolution, we partnered with iGraduate and started to offer the ISBSB each year. Now, this took us immediately away from the traditional quality assurance agencies, because essentially, as you all know, the quality assurance agencies tend to come in, accredit you at one point and say, yep, you're doing fine, you passed your accreditation. And then 5 or 6 years later, they come back and they do the same thing. And quite frankly, in the interim, there's not a huge amount of contact with those agencies. It's just here, and then it's repeated 5, 6 years later. So the moment the ICE partnered with iGraduate and started offering the ISBSB each year, it made us that little bit different. And what it provided was an annual monitoring of quality and data on the quality of each institution, but from a very important perspective, from the perspective of the students. So it's the students saying, yeah, we think things are good in this area, maybe could be improved in that area. And students were providing institutions with an evaluation annually of their quality. So then we've got the ICE becomes not necessarily a quality assurance agency, but more evolving into quality enhancement, because we're assisting institutions to improve their quality based on the feedback of students. And that's the way we like the ICE to evolve, and that's certainly the way we've decided the ICE will evolve in the future, because we want to build on those early foundations and take the ICE further and further into the realms of quality enhancement and further away from just being a quality assurance agency. And that's where the member benefits come in, because essentially the member benefits are all about the ICE trying to assist institutions to improve their operations and improve their quality. So the benefits are not perhaps the benefits that you'll see with I don't know, credit cards or whatever like this, with money off this and free nights out there or whatever. It's not about just offering freebies. It's about the ICE identifying things that we believe will add benefit to our institutions and that they can use to enhance their quality and their operations. So basically, as I said, this is what this webinar is about, because you'll have seen a series of benefits coming online. You might wonder, well, why is all this occurring? And But this webinar is about explaining that approach, explaining that evolution, and specifically explaining the latest initiatives that we've been rolling out. And this is the ICE GRM Challenge 2021. So this is the ICE's first step into a global competition. We've been asked for many years to consider operating a global competition to bring together institutions and bring together students from those institutions. And with the assistance of STR Share Centre, who have been really sort of backing us very, very strongly in developing this competition. And of course, with Russell Partnership Technology, and Peter came on board very early with this, we've been able to develop and roll out the GRM challenge that, I say, Peter will tell you more about shortly. The second panelist that we'll have this morning is Sophia Fry, who's the University Partnerships Manager from Unibuddy. And Unibuddy is an organisation that assists higher education institutions to link existing students with prospective students. And we've looked carefully into the services they provide. We believe that it might be of interest and of benefit to our members. So Sophia will join us probably about 9:30 to explain that partnership and what Unibuddy will be offering to our members. But we'll begin with Peter. Peter, as I say, has been fantastic in that for a long time. Russell Partnership Technology have been a business alliance partner of the ICE. So that Peter and RPT have been fantastic in supporting our IPOEs and supporting our members through the provision of technological programs in support of the academic programs. But specifically for the GRM challenge, as I say, Pete got on and involved very, very early, and it's developed the app that is the backbone of the program. But rather than me rambling on, I'll hand over at this point to Pete, who will provide all the details of the GRM challenge. Thank you, Peter.
Perfect. Thanks, Craig. Well, delighted to be here to talk to all of you today and to introduce to you further the GRM challenge. I know well, all of you should have seen emails coming out from Craig, Jane and Elise on this. So hopefully you've had somewhat of an introduction to what the GRM challenge is. But today is a really great opportunity for me to tell you a bit more about what it is, how it's going to work, and how your students can get involved. Because, as Craig said, this is a really fantastic benefit that you know, all of the students from across the ICE network can take benefit of. It's going to be a really fantastic, truly global event, which is going to be really good. Just to give a very bit of early background on this, you know, as part of what we all do, I think we all know how important it is to have this as much collaboration, networking, team working as we can. And of course, that's one of the big things that happens through the ICE amongst us as a group in terms of industry partners, teachers, lecturers, deans, directors, all those different job roles that we have. And this is going to be a really great opportunity to extend that out into the student portfolio as well, in terms of giving the students from across the network an opportunity to network with each other. This is something which had been talked about for a little while. I think between the ICE and ourselves and STR, this has been something that's been on the cards and discussed for a little while. But as you know, we wanted to create something, and we've been working away in the background to generate the right format and deliver this at the right time in order to you know, again, deliver something which is going to be of great benefit to the ICE network. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to talk you through a few of the basics as to how this is going to work. And I'm going to talk as well specifically about what program we're going to be using as part of this and how that's going to work as well. There may, of course, be other questions that you have following this session. If there are any questions specific on the actual sort of competitive element, which we'll be delivering, then of course, you know, I'm very happy for people to reach out to me directly. Just a really, really quick overview. If any of you don't know who we are as Russell Partnership Technology and Russell Partnership Collection, We are a company who specialise in teaching, learning and development programmes for the hospitality area of education. We have a number of educational learning programmes which covers simulations, applications and certifications. So some of you may know programs such as HOTS and RevSim, and those are the sort of programs that we deliver. But obviously I'm here today to talk predominantly about what we're doing in terms of the GRM Challenge. Now the GRM Challenge, as I mentioned, is going to be a real element here to unite students from across the ICE network. You know, we want this to be something which is going to bring people together and create an excellent environment for that cross networking and communication. It's also really key to say that the key element of all of this is rooted in the learning. So we also want to create this as a great opportunity for that networking and team working, but also a great opportunity for students to extend their learning, because we all know how important that is. So this is rooted in the learning. It has the networking and the team working and all those other great elements built into this. The way that the program will work is that you will sign up students from your universities, and we will then, as the ICE and ourselves and SDR, we will then put those students into teams. Each team will comprise of 4 to 6 students, and we will combine students from different institutions. And we will do our best to do that geographically diverse, to try and make sure that students are networking and working with people and they wouldn't normally be coming into contact with. That's a big part of what we're doing here. So those students, once they're registered, they will then be placed into those teams, and then we will be in touch to then give them access to the materials to get involved with the program. The core focus here is on revenue management. So in terms of revenue management, it's obviously a growing area of interest and importance, and has been for many, many years. So that is one of the core areas of this. Each team will be advised by at least one academic and accredited member from the ICE network. So each team of students will have some guidance and support. That will be a very important part of this process, to make sure that their students understand what they need to be doing and that they have somebody they can talk to if they need to ask any pertinent questions. As Craig said, this is very much a partnership being led by the ICE with ourselves and STR. Each team will need to have at least one student team member who is CHIA certified, so that's the certification in hotel industry analytics. And each academic advisor for each team will also have to have that CHIA certification. Now, as part of this, there's I think this is the first ever time that the CHIA has been offered at a discounted rate. So that's a big support element that SDR are bringing from this. Now, I know Steve's not with us on this presentation today, but if Steve was here, he would extol the virtues of the CHIA, and I can easily do that too, because the CHIA is an absolutely fantastic certification. And in all honesty, I would highly recommend that all students who are part of this challenge, or who are not part of this challenge, should go through and do the CHIA. The CHIA is the best way to prepare for the GRM challenge, and the CHIA is also the best way to prepare for going out into the industry within hotel or the hospitality world. And in all reality, the CHIA will help students prepare for any industry or job or entity that they're going into. It's a fantastic certification that includes so much depth in it that will help. So that again is another huge benefit being provided as part of the GRM challenge, in terms of SDR very generously supporting that, and the ICE supporting that in terms of that discounted rate to complete the CHIA for the students. As I mentioned above, there are, the core element of this is around the learning and the networking for the students, but there are some great prizes to be won too. And we know that the competitive element of this will be a really important part of firing people up. I know personally how competitive I am, and if I was a student who was getting involved with this, how much I would want to win. So we're very much aware of how your students will want to engage, compete, and see how they do against their peers. It's always a fantastic opportunity for people to compete. I think the hospitality network is a very competitive environment, but also a very supportive environment. So I'm sure whoever wins will have a lot of support from everyone else who takes part as well. So in terms of those prizes, there's some great prizes there to be won, and I'll probably come back and talk about those prizes in a little bit. I think the key thing is any students you have who you want to sign up, there's the opportunity to sign up now. So this is now open. We will keep the sign up open all the way into the start of the autumn or the fall semester. So there's a good opportunity to sign students up now who you will have as part of this going into that later part of the year. Or if you want to wait and find students who are starting in August or September, then that will be possible too. Now I want to move forwards and talk a little bit more about the actual challenge and how it's going to work, because I think that's probably an area where a lot of you have questions. I just include this slide just to show you the involvement you'll get through SDR in terms of the cheer. So I won't go fully into talk about all the benefits of the cheer, because there's obviously a huge amount of volume in there in terms of the content, but needless to say that that element in terms of going through the certification is going to be a fantastic way to go through, and as I said, the ideal way to prepare for the GRM challenge. So we certainly recommend that is done first before the student come into the competitive element. Right, to talk a bit more about what that competitive part is going to be. So the program that we're going to be utilizing for this is called the Revenue Management App. And this is a program that we here at Russell Partnership Technology have created and devised. Now, this application is, as the name would suggest, all focused on revenue management. And what it does is it's placing the students into the position of being the revenue management team for a hotel. With all of our simulation programs, the focus is always on simulating the real world as close as we physically can. We utilize our programs with over 200 universities around the world, so hundreds of, well, probably thousands of students, hundreds of thousands, maybe a stretch. So thousands of students around the world, and then also with the world's leading hotel and hospitality companies. And that goes the same with this revenue management app too. So we have industry who are utilizing this program as well. By using the program, this gives students the opportunity to put into practice all of the things they've been learning about revenue management, so they can put that to the test. And as I said, this is heavily rooted in the learning, but with that real competitive element layered on top. The first thing to say is that when students are given access to the program, they will be given access to log into this program, and they'll also be given access to log into an onboarding module. So within our learning management system, we'll have a learning module which introduces students to how to utilize the program. That will give them all the information they need to be able to compete. So I know we talked about each team having an academic assistance in terms of that academic element. That's more in terms of their support and guidance, not support and guidance as to how to utilize the program. All of that support and guidance is going to be delivered through that onboarding. And if students can't find how to work something, then of course they will be able to directly contact us in terms of our support team to provide any support. That support will only be on how to utilize the program, not on what to do and how to make decisions, because of course this is a competition. So we have to be somewhat strict on that to make sure that we don't give anybody any extra help. That initial information will be a number of things. It will be how to utilize the program. And believe me, the program is created in a very user-friendly way, so students will not have any problem picking it up and going. In some instances, we have students who will skip over the onboarding, which we never like to see, but they find it so intuitive that they go straight in and find they don't need it. So that I can assure you. The other thing that the students will get through the onboarding is they will get introduced to the scenario for the hotel. Now, the hotel in question is a 500-room hotel. It gives more information as to the style, the makeup of the hotel. And this hotel, which we'll have set up for this challenge, is going to be very much a sort of 4-star, mid-scale to upper mid-scale property. And this hotel has a focus on a somewhat late booking window. So the students, when they start the exercise, are going to begin 1 month away from a particular date of stay. And the core focus for the students is to drive as much business towards that 1 night date of stay as they can. Now, in terms of that, I'm talking about the focus on occupancy, focus on RevPAR, focus on ADR, and focus on overall profitability. Now, to go in and show you a little bit more about what the program looks like, the program is very, very user-friendly, as I've said a couple of times. Now, I'm going to talk about a few of the different areas where students make decisions. I've taken a few screenshots just from a midway point part of the way through to show you how students are making these decisions. Now, this element on the screen at the moment is some of the core decisions the students will make. And the way that this works is the students work forward through the simulation on a day-by-day basis. You'll see at the top of the screen it says current day is day 10 of 32. So it's a 31-day month, and day 32 is the date of stay, the end point. The first decision we make is our room price. Now, at the moment, you can see this is set at $200. Underneath, it tells us that the comp set average that our market is charging is 202. So we can see we're a little bit underneath the market value there. Now, there's lots of different strategies to be had here, and because these rates can be changed on a daily basis over 31 days, we have so many different permutations that can happen, and we've only looked at one decision. The next area we have is direct advertising per day, so how much budget is being spent on advertising. While not strictly a core revenue management decision, it's very much associated here in terms of how the hotel is driving direct bookings as a comparison to OTA bookings, which I'll come to in a moment. Then we have hours spent on social media, again, very much linked there with advertising. So this area here again is how we're spending time on social media to drive direct bookings. Now, it's key to say, of course, that the more money we spend on advertising and the more time we spend on social media, that of course carries a cost. And one of the core elements of this is overall profitability. So of course, everything we're doing here is all about a balance. Over here on the right-hand side, we have distribution channels. We can see we have Expedia, Priceline, Trivago, Orbitz, and Hotel Tonight. Via the sliders, these can be turned on and off. And at the very beginning of the exercise, the students can renegotiate the commissions that are paid to these OTAs. So again, a few really key decisions there, and these decisions that hotels are making all the time. Now, of course, you may be thinking there, well, okay, well, if I can renegotiate my commission, that sounds fantastic. I'll just tell Expedia they only get 5% commission rather than 18% commission. That's somewhat fine. I mean, in the real world, I think Expedia would probably tell you that they wouldn't want to work with you at that commission percentage. However, if you were to set that within the program here, then you would maybe receive a few bookings, but you wouldn't receive very many. So again, we provide the acceptable range here that tells the student where they should be in terms of what they want to do. But it is quite a simple formula within there. Up to a point, a higher commission is going to lead to more rooms because you will be better ranked on these platforms. As I said, the students make these decisions as they go through, and this updates the results, which I'm showing on the screen at the moment. These results will update throughout the entire process, and then at the end of the process, this is what will be submitted to the leaderboard, and then we get to see how well the students do at the end. And of course, that leaderboard is going to be what helps to tell us the prizes at the end. It's really important to say each team of students is going to get the opportunity to submit 2 scores. The first score will go forward to the overall leaderboard, as will the second score. If the students wish, they can carry on and have a go again. However, no further scores will move forwards. That is to make sure that the first go gives the students that learning opportunity to understand how this works. They then get a second go where we really hope each team will improve, and then that will be that. What we can see on the results here is we can see our occupancy, we can see our bookings that have come through, and we can see our margin, our profitability, and at the end we get to see our ADR and RevPAR as well. Now, not only do the students make those first set of decisions, they also, as they go through the process, will receive what we call offers. These offers sometimes would be called RFPs, requests for proposals, or corporate or contract rates. These are corporate entities who the hotel has an agreement with at certain rates. So this has come up partway through the process, and it tells us that Ultro Corporation, a company that we are engaged with, would like to book 5 rooms at a rate of $216. Now, at this point in time, as I'd had before, I was charging $200 publicly, but this $216 rate has been pre-agreed, which is why this rate is higher. Equally, it could be lower than the rate which I was charging. So at this point in time, and the fact that it tells me in the second sentence that this group makes extensive use of the in-house facilities, the restaurant and the bar, that tells me that there'll be incremental spend there within that as well. So that makes a very clear point. This would be a really good thing to accept. I would click accept, and then that would drop into my bookings. The students will move forwards all the way through until they get to the end of that process. And then once they submit, those scores will end up on the leaderboard. This is, as I've said, a really fun, interactive and learning-focused exercise. As I've mentioned, we have a lot of people who are utilising this as part of teaching, learning and development. We also have a lot of industry who are utilising the programme as well. So this is a great opportunity for students to get the opportunity to utilise this programme, to network, to compete, and to have those opportunities to win some great prizes as well. So the GRM Challenge, we strongly believe is going to be a really, really fantastic event. I did say I'd talk a little bit more about the prizes. So first place prize, and do excuse me for reading this just to make sure that I get this right. So first place, all members of the team will receive $1,500 Australian dollar study bursary and a place for the certified and advanced in terms of certified in advanced hospitality and tourism industry analytics, the CATHA, delivered by STR, and also a place to do the hospitality business acumen program, which is a certification program that we deliver at RPT. Second place, all members of the team receive a place for the CATHA and a place for the hospitality business acumen program. And the third place team, all members will receive a place for their hospitality business acumen program. So there's lots of prizes there to be won. Those additional elements there, so to give sight of one of them, which is the program that we deliver, the hospitality business acumen program. This is a program which we administer to all, well, is available to all of our 200 plus educational clients, and we also deliver with the industry as well. This is a 4-module program which focuses on the business acumen and finance knowledge you need to survive in the hospitality industry. Equally, the CATHA delivered by STR focuses on the industry analytics side of things that you need to know to go in the industry. So these prizes, again, are really helping support that student learning journey as well. I'm conscious I had about 20 minutes and I think I'm bang on my 20 minutes. So I will, I'll throw back over to you, Craig. I don't know if we're going to do questions now on this or if we're going to come to questions for everything at the end. So all that's left to say is we really would love to have all of you to submit students to take part in the GRM Challenge, because it really is going to be a fantastic event. It's going to be a really great thing for the students. And I know from personal experience, having been part of other competitions for hospitality students, which are very different to this, just how much students get from being part of these competitions. It really is a fantastic thing for them to do. It's a really good extracurricular thing for them to do. It's a great thing for them to be able to put on their CVs, to talk about on LinkedIn. So this is I cannot talk more highly of how much I'd recommend students to get involved. If there are any questions, any uncertainties, any concerns, you know, please do contact either myself directly or through Craig, Jane and Elise, and we'll be more than happy to help. So just really excited to get going on this, and thank you all very much.
Thanks, Pete. That's excellent. Okay, brilliant. I just want to say a couple of things, and then I think we will hand over to Sophia. So Pete mentioned that we'd open this now after you know, thinking about it for a while. The reason we've opened it at this stage is obviously because everyone's got used to online teaching, so we thought this fitted very nicely with that. But also, I think institutions are struggling with bringing their students together, getting their students sort of engaged with learning again, and sort of keeping them engaged. And also, we're very aware that whilst the COVID challenges has united us in some way, it's also fractured us in some way, and we wanted to bring us together. So that's the reason we've launched at this stage. We really hope that it assists you, the members, to engage with your students and to give them perhaps something exciting in the form of a challenge to get involved with. And also, as I say, that you can work together across the network. So that's the reason we're doing it now. It is going to be an annual challenge, so it is going to be something we do every year. We have got feedback, of course, from our Northern Hemisphere members, particularly saying, yeah, it's a little bit late. It's a little bit difficult to engage at this point because we're just going into the final weeks of teaching. Wish you'd have done it earlier. We couldn't have done it earlier because it's taken so long to pull it together. But next year we will launch it in March, and so Northern Hemisphere institutions can obviously participate at March onwards next year, and we hope actually that's probably the ideal window, March, April time for Northern and Hemisphere institutions to engage with this. But as for this year, as I say, what we've done is we've kept registrations and the competition open right through to the end of September. So if you're watching this and thinking, and I know sort of a couple of institutions from the Northern Hemisphere saying, yeah, wish we could do it in September, you can wait till students return from the summer break and then recruit a team, then register and then engage, and we'll find a way of making it work for you. This year, please be patient with us. It might be a little bit difficult to put teams together, but we'll make it work that everyone that's interested in engaging gets to participate. So that's the second thing. The third thing I want to say is about the prizes, and Peter mentioned the prizes. What we did in preparation for the prizes is we looked across all the competitions that we could find that have been previously offered in the domain of hospitality and tourism and events, and we looked at the prizes that they were offering, and we thought we should go better than that. So as far as I know, and please let me know if you know any different, this is the best prize package that's ever been offered for a student competition in this domain. And as you'll see from the prizes, it's specifically about the students themselves being able to upskill and add to their own profiles. So all members of the first three teams receive prizes, and the third team gets a prize. The second team gets that prize, and the second team prize, and the first team gets all three prizes. So obviously, the higher place you are, the more benefits you get. But it does mean that the students in the first place team significantly add to their profile and add really meaningful sort of industry relevant certifications and qualifications to their profile. So please sort of make sure that your students are aware of that. So yep, and as I say, it's the first time we're running it, so this is not a one-way street. If you've got comments, if you've got suggestions about how to improve it, please let us know. But yeah, this is the start, we think, of something big, which we hope will be a benefit to you all. Okay, we'll leave it at that, and then we'll come back with questions after the next panelist. And this is Sophia Fry, who's the University Partnerships Manager from Unibody. And Unibody, as I say, it came to us from actually one of our directors, John Fong, said, look, I've met a representative of Unibody. I've looked at what they do. I think it's a really great sort of service, and it seems to be very successful in what they're offering. I checked it out. I spoke to Unibody, and we had a long discussion. The discussions on this started way back in, I think, October, November last year. So we wanted to get this absolutely right for the ICE members, and I think we have. And so we've got Sophia joining us today to explain what Unibody is offering to our members. And then I say what we'd have then is an open discussion with questions, and then we'll also look at the other benefits that the ICE is currently offering and may offer in the future. So over to you, Sophia, for the next bit. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much, Craig, for that intro there. And Peter, I really hope I can keep to time management as well. It's very impressive that you were bang on the 20 minutes. So I have been known to chat, so hopefully I can try and keep to the timings as well. But yes, hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're all dialing in from. I'm going to share my screen here. I promise it won't be death by PowerPoint, but just a few slides for you this morning. Here we go. That should all be showing for you all now, hopefully. Let's wait until it starts. Hopefully it's not my Wi-Fi. Fantastic. So a little bit of background into UniBuddy, what exactly we do, how we came about, and how, of course, we can help specifically the ICE members to utilise UniBuddy as well. So before we get into it, just a couple of housekeeping rules. If you have any questions or comments at all, please do, as you probably have done throughout the session, just use the comments box within Zoom. And of course, we'll get to your questions after the session and answer those live if possible, if we have time at the end. And this session is being recorded, so we will make this available to you after the session and send across the recording if you'd like that, and to share with colleagues as well. So to kick things off, as Craig said, of course, my name is Sophia Fry. I'm one of the University Partnership Managers here at UniBuddy, which means that I work alongside higher education institutions to help them transform and enhance their recruitment marketing strategies through the power of peer-to-peer. So through utilising the student voice throughout their recruitment and marketing strategy in order to engage and attract more prospective students. So I actually work specifically within the Canadian regions of Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia and British Columbia. And we have quite a smashing partner base over in Canada at the moment as well. So that's very exciting. Just to set a brief agenda, of course, we've done introductions, but we'll be talking about how you're going to be able to attract and reassure prospective students in a digital environment, particularly in times of uncertainty. And we'll then be discussing the power of peer-to-peer for student recruitment and how you can start to utilise the power of your current student voices as well to elevate that. We'll then be going on to the ICE member benefits and discounts. So if you partnered with UniBuddy, what the offer would look like in terms of discounts on fees, and of course some time at the end for a Q&A. So to give you a little bit of background into UniBuddy as a company, we're currently working with almost 500 higher education institutions across the world globally. We've now seen a whopping nearly 12 million messages exchanged across our platform. So we're engaged with hundreds and thousands of prospective students all over the world who are reaching out and speaking to our hundreds of higher education institution partners who are forming those organic, authentic connections with the current student communities at our partner institutions. And we are now we're being used by institutions in more than 40 countries. We actually have our HQ over in London, which is where I am today, an office in New York, one in Bangalore, and also opening in Singapore this year. So very exciting times. The whole idea of UniBuddy actually came about because our founder, Diego, was actually an international student himself, and he was researching different institutions to attend over in the UK and in the US, and found it really, really frustrating that the information and the answers that he actually wanted questions to weren't so readily available on the websites of the institutions. They weren't really available in digital prospectuses. He actually realised the questions that he wanted to ask were more about student life and experience. Is this going to be the right institution for me? How am I going to settle in? What's the city like? What's the town like where it's based? And he realised that what was actually lacking from his research in looking at different institutions was making connections with current students at those universities who'd made that decision before him and who had chosen that institution for all different types of reasons. And when he actually got to university, he realised he wasn't the only person that had this frustration. So many of his peers had said, we had to go onto social media to try and speak to current students at these universities to understand what is the student experience like at these universities. And so UniBuddy was born 4 years ago. And as I said, over those 4 years, we've experienced a lot of growth, and we now have hundreds of partners all over the world. But starting back with the problem itself and starting back with the challenge that we'll hopefully be tackling for the ICE members in particular. So, of course, students are about to embark on making the biggest decision of their young lives to date, where to go to university, and particularly in times like now, should they be going to university at all, especially because, if they're considering a degree in, the tourism and hospitality industry, and an industry that's been infamously sort of put on pause for the past year, they're going to need all of the confidence and reassurance they can get in order to make that decision, and to know that that decision is still the right decision for them, even though the industry has faced so much uncertainty in recent times. So, of course, the choice out there is overwhelming. There's so much to take into consideration. Is this the right fit for me before I go ahead and make that leap and spend all that time and resource and money, of course, in attending university? And it's not only the students as well that are about to make this big decision, but of course, universities like yourselves, you need to make sure that you're converting the best fit students. And, not only are they going to inquire about your university, not only are they going to apply, but of course that you're going to retain them, and they're going to be advocates for your institution as well. And how do you actually stand out from the competition when the competition is so fierce? What you actually need to do is to create a really slick digital journey to reach and reassure as many prospective students as possible. And there are actually 3 steps in doing so. So, of course, the million-dollar question is, how do you attract, reassure and recruit Gen Z in an ever increasingly digital world in times of such an uncertainty? So now, of course, there are 3 steps to that journey. So number 1, it starts with real life experiences. Real experiences matter. Now, these are statistics pulled from reports done by QS and Lucian, but it probably comes as no surprise that 84% of prospects use social media in part of their higher education research. You'll probably know that particularly Gen Z are looking on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook to really build up an idea of what it's actually like to study at that university. What's the town like? What's the social life like? What is the student experience life like? The second step is, of course, building confidence. So reassuring students that this is the right decision for them and to make them feel confident in making that decision. So 87% of decisions are influenced by personalized communication. So making sure that everything within your outbound marketing, everything within your outreach is, of course, relevant, and it speaks to students as well in making that decision. The third step is creating that sense of belonging. So 74% of students who interact with current students, who want to interact with current students during their decision-making process, they're craving those organic, authentic connections to help them to make those decisions, with the help of their peers who've made those decisions before them. And it really is the responsibility of the institutions to create that sense of belonging as well. Now, that is where Unibuddy comes in. So in a nutshell, if you haven't heard of Unibuddy before, we've actually evolved from just a chat widget. We've actually got 3 main fantastic features now on our peer-to-peer engagement platform. But starting with number 1, so essentially we provide a widget where you will be able to demonstrate and showcase the community of your current students from different programs of study, from different regions, etc. And your prospective students will be able to connect with current students at your institution to ask them all of the questions that perhaps your staff members aren't as equipped to answer about their experience, about their social life, the nightlife, etc. And also a place to collate student-generated content. So we saw just then how important it is that you're speaking to your students on a level that resonates with them. And there's no one better and more equipped to do that than your current students creating content for their peers and for prospective students to learn from and to understand from. The second feature is a built-in live events platform. So, of course, as you're all very aware, last year, thousands of institutions were forced to digitize their in-person events, so all of their open houses, all of their open days, their recruitment fairs, orientation days, etc. These all had to be put into a virtual environment, and it's crucial that in this virtual environment you're still creating that sense of virtual community, and students, no matter where they are, no matter how they're connecting, they still feel a part of your institution without even coming onto campus. And the third element of UniBuddy is the fact that the platform actually runs off of AI, off of artificial intelligence. So every single piece of engagement that happens across the platform, whether that's a conversation between a prospective student and your current students, your prospects between teaching staff or admin staff, whether that's them attending an event, reading some student-generated blog content, whatever that might be, all of that data and all of that engagement is captured and is delivered to the institution in conversational insights. So you're able to understand what your target audience actually cares about, what questions they're asking, what are their concerns, and it allows you to respond to those concerns in real time with relevant marketing messages that actually align to what they're asking and what they're talking about, which is of course part of the reason why they're actually seeking these conversations in the first place, is to gain that reassurance that, is this the right decision? Should I be doing this? I want to speak to somebody who's made this decision, and to reassure me that this is still the right thing for me. So I mentioned just now the virtual live events platform. So just to note, this is one of our newest releases onto the platform, and we actually released it early last year, which was a rather timely release with, again, the world going into a virtual environment. But since we actually launched UniBuddy Live, we saw a 900% increase in the use of our platform. And in fact, we wanted to break the mold of legacy video streaming tools like Zoom, like Teams, like GoToWebinar, etc. And we wanted to really put the student first in when we were creating this product. So we actually have live streaming capability. We've also got integrated group chats where prospective students can not only communicate with current students and members of staff and teaching staff, etc., but they can also actually communicate with one another and build relationships and form connections even before stepping foot onto campus. So the entire time with these virtual events that are relevant and that are super focused and personalised, you're building that emotional investment to ensure that students feel at one with your university, and they're going to choose your institution to study at. So the good news is, in terms of actually being able to implement UniBuddy and actually put the power of your student voices, your current students, at the forefront of your marketing, at the forefront of your recruitment strategy, you actually only need 3 tools to do this. And the 3 tools likely you've already got available to you. So starting with number 1, your website. So the prospect-facing element of UniBuddy will be on your website. Perhaps you'll have a dedicated landing page for this. You might have it on your admissions page. You might want to put different traffic drivers on course program pages as well. Hey, do you want to find out more about this program? Why don't you speak to one of our students, Sophia, who's actually studying economics or studying tourism or studying hospitality, etc. Why don't you ask her some questions? Number 2, it's your student ambassador program. Now, if you don't already have a student ambassador program formally in place, institutions will often have a pool of students who often represent the institution either in open days or for Q&As during recruitment fairs, whatever it might be. But that's your current students. And number 3, the mobile devices of your prospective students. So how are you actually going to connect and communicate with your prospects? So those 3 tools are all that's needed in order to implement UniBuddy. Now, of course, we talk about the sort of umbrella topic of peer-to-peer communication and peer-to-peer engagement, and how great it is to connect prospective students with current students so they can have a nice chat. But really, we wouldn't be here today, we wouldn't be in business if we didn't actually drive tangible results for institutions, for our partners. So just taking a few statistics here from 4 of our university partners, starting with Imperial College Business School. Off the back of using UniBuddy, they saw a 57% increase in the number of applications that were submitted once a prospective student had had a conversation on the UniBuddy platform. So that's a significant increase in applications there. At Middlesex University in London, they saw that 54% of prospective students who had been given an offer then converted and accepted their offers. At St John's University, they saw a 28% increase in yield compared to an average of 16 previously. So again, really significant results being driven off the back of these, off the back of utilising UniBuddy and off the back of utilising your current students as your most valuable recruitment marketing asset. And my favourite one here is 90% of those who actually had a conversation on the Unibuddy platform with current students at the Erasmus School of Economics, 90% of those went on to enrol. So, you know, an incredibly valuable result here. Now, to talk a little bit about the partnership with the ICE members and the discount available. So all of the platform features of Unibuddy that we've briefly touched on in today's presentation. So that's the chat to student ambassadors, chat to staff, the admin dashboard, where of course institutions can access the conversational insights and understand those engagement analytics, including the Unibuddy live events platform with video streaming and group chats. All of these features are, of course, included in the platform fee. It's not a modular basis. You pay an annual fee dependent on the size of your institution. So the full-time equivalent of the number of students at your institution will depend on which tiering you're in, either small, medium or large, and that will be an annual platform fee. Now, the exclusive discount for ICE members is that there will be a 20% discount on that platform fee, on that yearly platform fee, and that will also be extended to existing mutual partners at renewal stage. So if you're already a Unibuddy partner and you're also an ICE member, you will be able to receive that 20% discount on renewal as well, which is a fantastic offer, if I do say so myself, but I could be biased. So if, of course, you wanted further information on those pricings, or if you wanted a concrete sort of quote from us, please do feel free to reach out to me at sophia.fry@unibuddy.com. I can post it in the chat shortly, and I'd be happy to have a chat and understand a little bit more about your objectives, and also to give you a quote and a price for your platform as well. And of course, answer any questions that you may have. So just to show off a couple of our testimonials here. I won't read these out, I'll allow you to read them off the screen. But ultimately, what actually happens here when you connect a prospective student with their peers, with their peers that have actually made these decisions before them, you know, current students at these institutions that they're interested in, ultimately what happens is they feel a lot more confident about their decision making, they feel a lot more confident about the university fit, and ultimately that's what's going to drive results from an initial lead inquiry all the way through to applying, enrolling, and of course turning up at their first day at the institution. So 89% after using Unibuddy felt more confident about the university fit. And just a few testimonials here from some of our partners. You know, when a student asks a question, they get an answer, and straight away they'll make a commitment, they'll put a deposit down, they'll decide this is the right place for them. All it takes really is for students to feel more confident in their decision making, and ultimately to feel reassured to have their concerns met and their expectations better managed. Okay, so with that, now that was quite a brief nutshell there, and I hope that wasn't sort of information overload. I hope that all made sense. But I really do hope that if you have any questions at all, please do pop them in the chat, and we can have a conversation if you're interested as well. Craig, I hope I've not gone over time there. I've seen you just pop up again. I hope that we've kept time.
That's,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Very good. Thanks, Sophia. That's great. Wonderful stuff. And again, there's a specific reason why we introduced this partnership at Unibuddy at this stage. One, of course, we'd been approached, as I say, by one of our directors who recommended we looked at Unibuddy. But we know that the challenges that the institutions are facing at this stage, attracting students, reaching students, and particularly institutions that are RICE members operating in hospitality, tourism, culinary arts events. The industry has been so damaged, been so impacted by COVID, that we feel that a lot of prospective students out there are questioning not whether they should go to university, but whether this is the right course to be following. And the best people we feel that they should be talking to are existing students, because of course existing students are midway through their courses, they're going into that industry, and so they're going to get the honest responses to these questions about whether they're still getting internship opportunities, whether they're still being able to interact with the industry, etc. So we felt it was the right time to approach Unibuddy. And I've got to say that as with all our partners, Unibuddy have been fantastic and accommodating in understanding the ethos of the ICE. Sophia mentioned about the benefit being offered to existing members of Unibuddy. And that's, I'm not talking out of shop here. That's something that was a bit of a sticking point. But we explained that the ethos of the ICE, that all members are treated equally, and we do everything that benefits our members equally. And Unibuddy have been incredibly accommodating in that. So thank you to Sophia and the team for accommodating that. So it's there, it's available to you, and yeah, I hopefully, as I say, that you see the benefits. We certainly did. I certainly did. I've been in sort of admissions myself, and I always had the feeling that, yeah, I know they like talking to me, but they're always going to be suspicious that me as an academic within this particular institution, I'm bound to have a biased view. Where, if they talk to another student, it's going to be more authentic. It's going to be more persuasive, and that's of course what Unibuddy does. So yeah, please have a look at what's available there or what's on offer, and get in contact with us or with Unibuddy if you wish to follow up on that. We're now sort of moving on to questions. Initially, we'll start with questions related to the GRM and about Unibuddy. So if you've got any questions, please sort of ask through the chat. And we've got just one at the moment that I've seen come through. So I do encourage everyone else to raise their hands and ask questions. But this might be one for you, Pete. It says, what would the timeline be for the competition? Is this a per module thing? So
yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. Yeah, so timeline's a really good question. So as Craig said, we will be extending the opportunity for people to register all the way through into September. So the key thing is, once you've registered your students, you will then hear from us, and then I'll just talk a little bit about the timeline from once you've registered your students to be part of this. So once you've done that, we as the ourselves and the ICE will be in touch to tell the students who they're connected with in terms of their team. They'll then be given access to the program, and then they'll be free to complete this in their own time. So there's no requirement for this to be done at set periods of time. And obviously, we know that that'll need to happen when the students have availability, both in terms of teaching schedules and, of course, if students are connecting across time zones. So they'll be able to connect and do that in their own time. Now, in terms of the time taken to do this, there is no set timeline. We are not sort of decreeing that things have to be done over a certain time period. However, to give you a bit of an oversight as to how long these things take, the cheer is slightly separate. So, of course, we've said that each team needs to have one student who is cheer certified. That will take a longer period of time. So the cheer, I'm sure if Steve was here, he'd correct me if I'm on this, but I'm pretty certain that takes about 6 hours to go through in terms of the cheer. So that's that an element. And of course, you only need one student per team to be able to do that. And then when we talk about the actual heart of the competition, that is, in reality, the students can spend as much or as little time as they want on that. Now, our recommendation would be the students spend a minimum of 3 hours doing that, and probably a maximum of 6 hours. So somewhere within that bracket, it's important the students spend some time to get to know each other. Then they would do their first run through the simulation program to get to the end and submit a score. We would then recommend that they have a break, and then they reconnect and come back and they assess how well they did, and then they go through and do it again. So that's how we would suggest they do it. So in reality, if a team of students got together quickly, the timeline could be as short as a week, really, I would suggest. Ideally, I would suggest it's a little longer than that, just to give a little bit more of a gap in the middle for that learning, for that thought process to sink in. So that's where we are in terms of the timeline. The key thing is to get students registered, and then you'll hear from us in terms of connecting them, and then they will get into get in from there.
Thanks, Pete. If people are worried about, we don't have any cheer qualified staff, we do have students that are interested, but we don't have cheer qualified staff, contact us and let us know, because we continue up with other institutions that have got cheer qualified staff. So not necessarily a member of your academic team that needs to be qualified. We can find somebody at another institution that can act as your team's mentor. So if you I say, please do get in contact with us if you want to participate, but you just have a question about it. We've also got a question from tourism schools, because obviously we have a number of members that are principally sort of tourism schools. Would they benefit? Yes, of course, because this is about data analytics. This is about operating an organisation profitably and optimizing operations. So it could be a tourism body just as well as it could be a hotel. The sort of basic fundamentals are still the same. Do you agree, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think, across the sort of different areas of learning that we see across, sort of hotel management, the sort of wider remit of hospitality, tourism, travel, there's obviously certain events, there's obviously, a range of things there, and they all have their very unique elements as well. But it always always surprises us. It somewhat surprises us that actually, the more we dig deeper into a lot of these things, a lot of the core learning elements in terms of these foundational learning elements are so similar across the different areas. So while revenue management is often seen as being, oh, well, that's about hotel rooms, isn't it? I'm not working in hotels, so that's not relevant to me. I don't think that's true at all. I think there's so many crossovers with that. Revenue management techniques can be applied to anything. There are revenue managers now who manage golf courses because they manage tee times and things like that. Any resource you have which is finite and can be managed can be revenue managed. So and then all of that theory and learning has so many crossovers from that. So I wouldn't say that this is a thing which is specific to hotel management students or hospitality students. The benefits across this are going to be there for everybody. So yeah, I'd say there is no set group of students. It would be suitable for anybody across any of those sort of 4 or 5 discipline areas, which encompasses all institutions and all courses, I would say, across the ICE network. Yeah,
of course, for the culinary schools out there, managing a restaurant or managing it works perfectly for that as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
Just building on what Peter was saying about the timeline, I'll just reiterate again that the competition is open for registrations and for competition right up to the end of September. So based on what Peter's just said, as you can see, if it's only going to take a number of hours to actually complete the competition, perhaps a week to complete the 2 elements, then yeah, you can see that right up until the end of September we can accept registrations for teams. The winners will be announced alongside the international panel of experts in October, and then the prizes will be awarded following that, just in case anyone's wondering when that will all occur. So that's the sort of time scale of making those announcements. Okay, right. I've got another question come in. This one's from Sophia. Is the pricing a flat rate for big and small institutions? I think
thank you for that question. I must have missed that one. I didn't actually see that one come through. No, it's not a flat rate. So it's based upon the size of your institution, or which tier you'll be put into. So it's the full-time equivalent of your student community. So if you're less than 5,000, it'll be one fee. If you're more than 20,000, it'll be another fee. If you're in between there, of course, it'd be another fee for that as well. So it's a tiering structure. Again, if you wanted a firm quote on that, I'd need to know the specific size of your institution, and of course the split between international and domestic if you wanted 2 separate platforms for that. Hope that answers.
I think I recall from the discussion, Sophie, that it can be applied to a department as well. So you work with departments as well as a full institution. So if somebody's representing a department, anybody could perhaps just work with them rather than the whole institution.
Absolutely, yeah. So we can actually work with specific faculties within an entire institution. If your entire institution didn't want to take on the platform and you just want to choose a specific faculty, specific number of courses, etc., we can also accommodate to that, and it would of course be priced accordingly based on the number of students within that faculty.
Okay, and a couple more for you as well, Sophia. So a question from John Law about incentives to students doing the supporting work for admissions.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get this question quite a lot. So how do you actually incentivize, how do you keep student ambassadors motivated in this programme where they're representing the institution? So we have, of course, hundreds of partners, and they all choose to do things slightly differently. Some will actually be a completely voluntary programme where students are so motivated and engaged and so happy in their institution to represent, and they feel really proud of being able to have these conversations to help out, you know, fellow students where they empathise. You know, I was in this position, I wanted all these answers to these questions that I had as well. I'm really, really happy to just help out. Or we have institutions that will incentivise them, you know, with the Unibuddy dashboard. You can actually see who was the most engaged this week, who's perhaps the least engaged, who answered the most amount of questions, and you can sort of run, you know, gamify it nicely. Say, look, if you're top of the leaderboard this week, you win a free branded university hoodie, you get a free lunch on campus. Or there's another level of it as well. A lot of our institutions will run sort of accreditations, you know, at the end of it, after they've been a student ambassador for Unibuddy, they'll give them a certificate of sort of involvement, you know, recognition that they can then put on their CV. And particularly, you know, in careers within the hospitality industry, where it's people-focused careers, people-centered careers, that's actually going to look quite valuable on a CV. You know, I represented my institution, I spoke to this many prospects, I had this many conversations, and you know, I was a representative for my university. The other side of things as well, if you wanted to, and if you're in a position to, you can financially incentivize them. You know, it's a small you know, amount of money, but you know, per blog article that they post for you, or perhaps how many conversations they have a month. Again, if you're in a position to do so, that would obviously help out a student quite a lot who is participating. So yeah, thank you for that question. That's answered that one. Yeah, I think. Sorry, go on.
You got a thumbs up from John Law saying the gamification is great for that. So thanks, John, for coming back to say. And one from John Dick.
Sorry, Craig.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off. Okay. But just to add to that as well, you'll find that once you actually have student ambassadors involved, a lot of partners only start with a handful of ambassadors, and you'll find that there's quite a lot of FOMO that goes on, you know, fear of missing out. You know, they start recruiting themselves, and more ambassadors want to start representing. They want to start using this shiny new platform. It's a mobile app that they can answer questions on, and they all want to have their profile on their university website representing. So yeah, it's quite easy to recruit ambassadors and also keep them engaged. Over to you, Craig. Sorry.
That's fine. One from John Daly, assistant chair, saying, can you choose your student ambassadors who are available for interactions on the platform, or can anyone get involved?
Absolutely. So you'll probably have in mind, like you said, you don't necessarily want people who might be feeling negative or have bad feelings towards the institution. So you might actually have in mind, you know, your sort of A-star students who, you know, are really happy at the moment. They're having a good student experience and they'd be happy to talk to prospects. So for example, you might have a handful or a pool of students who already partake in events on campus, or who are already quite prominent sort of faces in the student recruitment cycle. You know, do you use anyone at the moment who has conversations with prospective students at open days, for example? But yeah, again, you can put that advertisement out and say, test the waters and say, you know, would anyone be interested in doing this? But typically you will only attract students who are having a good student experience. Otherwise, if they're not, they probably won't want to be involved anyway. But yeah, that's a really good point. Okay,
thank you. That's okay. I think all the questions we've got on the GRM and Unibuddy at this stage, but if thoughts come to people, let me know. What I want to just use the last 10-15 minutes for just to open it up into the ICE benefits in general, because as you can see from what I've said in the introduction and the two presentations, what we're trying to do in the ICE is develop relationships and develop benefits which are going to assist our members to enhance their quality. One of the ones that is already launched and currently operating is our partnership with Hosco, and people have sort of gone, "What why have you done that? What's that about?" So I just wanted to use the next couple of minutes to explain that. And again, you might have questions about this, and please let me know if you do have questions about it. So I started off by saying that we began the ICE as a quality assurance institution, organization, and that was a very traditional view of experts giving their opinion of the quality of an institution. That's how most quality assurance bodies operate. So that's one perspective, one lens, if you like, on the quality of an institution. The ICE have gone one step further and said, through the annual survey, we give a student perspective of the quality of your organisation, your institution, and they tell us through their responses to the International Student Barometer how they view the quality of the institution. But that's still only two lenses, experts and students. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to get a different lens, a different perspective, and we wanted to approach alumni, because I've got a saying in the UK, I'm not sure if it translates globally, but the proof is in the pudding. So we as hospitality, tourism, culinary arts, events educators, we're providing an education and training for people to go out and to work in this great industry. But are they getting the jobs that they want? Are they getting the career paths that they're looking for? Is the programs that they've taken prepared them for that career path? And so we wanted to find a way to ask the alumni whether they are satisfied with the education they received, and to give their view on the quality of that institution. And that's where HOSCO comes in, because HOSCO is of course the great alumni network, and it already exists. They've already got this fantastic alumni network. So we got in discussions with John at HOSCO, and we said, can you provide us data from alumni that will allow us to inform the institutions of how effective that they've been? And he said, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, of course we can do that. We can from existing data, and I've got to stress here that we're not asking, we're not approaching alumni at this stage. We're not going out and asking them questions. HOSCO is just harvesting existing data from alumni that have voluntarily created a profile with HOSCO on their platform. And what HOSCO are doing are harvesting data and telling us, okay, where are these students employed? What positions are they employed in? How long have they been employed in those positions? How long did it take from graduation for them to get those positions? And they're harvesting that data for us, and then we will tell the institutions and provide that data to you. So it gives you another perspective on whether your education is effective and therefore of a suitable quality. So that's why we've partnered with HOSCO. That's why we've been asking you for the contact hours in your institutions that will work with HOSCO on setting up this partnership. What we'll do is, once we've harvested this data, we'll present it to you alongside the ISBSB feedback in the latter end of this year. So you'll get your International Student Barometer feedback, like you do every year, delivered by Jane or I. And alongside that, you'll get your HOSCO alumni data, and it'll give you a different perspective on quality. And this is something that we hope to roll out and develop in years to come. So essentially, what we hope to do is do more and more research amongst alumni, and maybe in future actually conduct a research. So physically go out and ask them questions and gather more information from your alumni. Again, just so that we can feed back to you more information. But what I want to know is whether you think that's a good idea, whether you think we're going the right way, and also whether there's more we can do for you, because we think this is great to get a different perspective on quality. We think it's all helpful and it all assists institutions. But what I need is for you, our members, to tell us if we're going in the right direction, and if this is the sort of thing you need. So I've spoken for a few minutes there. No more questions have come in. Please let me know if you've got any questions about GRM, about Unibuddy, about HOSCO. Some of the future things we're considering in terms of where do we take the ICE from here. We're very aware that we're doing a lot for hospitality institutions. We're doing a lot for tourism institutions. We've got an increasing number of culinary institutions, and one of the things we're looking at the moment for the future is building a culinary chapter within the ICE, and maybe linking this culinary chapter to a leading culinary association worldwide, so that they get benefits there too. So that's something we're thinking of. So again, let me know if this is of interest to you. I've got a question coming. I just want to turn to data protection rights are various, and sharing information might be an issue. John, Laura, are you still there? Did you want to come in on the data protection side of things? Is that possible? Can we let John speak?
Just give me 2 seconds. I'll promote him to panelist.
Thank you. Because I think it's a good opportunity to just address this point directly.
I don't mind saying something on that while John comes in, because data is something we've looked at a lot as well. So I think one of the key things around the data protection side of things, and hopefully this leads in well to what John's going to say, obviously GDPR is somewhat of a challenge, but I think the important thing is once you're aware of what you need to deal with in terms of it, then actually it's not overly complex. A lot of it sounds more complex than it is. It's more a case of making sure that people know what's happening with their data if that data is being utilized for something. And there are certain levels of data which are either more or less protected. I can see John's here, so I'll let John carry on with that. But I think the key thing is know what you need to do, get a robust system in place with regard to data, because anyone who's accessing any system online is going to be somewhat sharing data. So it's a reality of living in a world where we have an online entity. So yeah, it's just a case of making sure you've got a robust system to deal with it. John, over to you.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Craig. Hi, members of the ICE. Yeah, regarding GDPR and data, look, Hosco is a social network. Just as you add your data on Facebook or LinkedIn, you add it on Hosco, and you choose what you want to add. But before you add it, of course, there's a GDPR compliance message that the members have to accept, saying you accept that 1, the data you provide will be shared on Hosco, and 2, if you belong to a community of a school, that school community has access to your data, which gets back to the model that we've created with the ICE to ensure that every ICE school has a community on Hosco, so that when the students are joining, they're not just becoming part of this pool of Hosco members, they're becoming both part of the pool and part of the community. And so when the school logs in with their own accounts, they can view the profiles of all those students and alumni, but no one else can. So for example, there is a public and a private view, just the same on LinkedIn. So if you would look up my name on Google and you look at my Hosco profile, you'll see me and you'll see some basic information, but you're not going to see my email. You're not going to see my phone number. You're not going to see any other of those details. But when a school who is a community manager logs into their account and views their students and alumni, they can on an individual basis. And the student has agreed to share those details because they are an official student or alumni from that institution.
Okay, that's great, John. I think that answers the question. One of I recall another question coming in from another of our members, not by this particular webinar, but earlier, saying that are there restrictions on actually going into to conduct research amongst your members? Do you need the school's permission to conduct that research, or is it the fact that they are part of the voluntarily part of the Hosco community that you can conduct the research? Do you understand the question? Yeah.
So what we made sure of in the beginning is that schools can't spam or contact other students. We didn't want to turn this into what we call a meat market, right? So you can message your own community members, your students and alumni, but you cannot message a member who is not from it. But a student to student or member to member can ask to connect. And just like the LinkedIn model, once you're connected, you can talk. But from an ICE perspective, because all of these students and alumni are part of a higher hierarchy, which at the top of the hierarchy is the ICE, there could be a way in the future to then share different research projects or different surveys with those members from the aggregate community of all schools for those research purposes. Yeah, it's maybe a phase 2 to explore.
But if, for example, as a second phase for our alumni research, we found out from our members, we want to know a little bit more information. We want to know, for example, was there elements missing within the program that they wanted covered? Now, you can't find that just from your existing sort of profile on Hosco. Correct. You'd need to approach those students. Can you approach those alumni? Can you approach those alumni without the consent of the institution in which they came from? Can you go ahead and do that by virtue of the fact they are now members of HOSCO? Is that something you can do, or do you need the consent of their former sort of institution?
No, there's no consent required, because what the institution will have at their access are the profiles, and what we can do on our end is a CRM campaign. So we could take all of the emails of all alumni from Institute A, for example, and send a targeted survey to them asking those specific questions. So it can be done on the HOSCO side. Yeah, it cannot be done on the school side, but we can arrange it either for all ICE members or specific ICE member schools. Yeah.
Okay, that's great, John, because as I say, that in my opinion, and again, I'd love to hear from members regarding this, but in my opinion, that's kind of phase 2 of this alumni project, that you let us know what more you'd like to find out from your alumni, and we will build it into the phase 2, where we will actually go out to alumni with targeted research, which we will then report back alongside the harvested data from HOSCO and alongside the ISPSB. So as you can see, basically the report back session at the end of each year, you get more and more information from different perspectives on the quality of your provision. So that's what we're aiming to do, to give you this kind of, like, if you like, 360 sort of view of the quality of your provision.
That's a smart approach. I mean, why a member has joined HOSCO is to find a job, to find a connection, to find learning. They haven't joined to share their feedback from the university, but if they're approached by it individually, of course it'd be on a one-by-one basis, but I would think they'd be motivated to contribute back to the university. A bit on the Unibuddy model too. Students like to help other students, alumni like to help other potential students. So certainly I think there's ways to explore that. Okay,
that's great. Thanks, John. Is there, I'll just give one, well, in fact, not even one more minute, 30 more seconds. If anyone would like to pose a question, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to draw this, webinar to a close. Okay,
it's just we'll start to, Tana.
Sorry?
There's just a question there from Tana.
I don't see it. Can you just, I don't see it.
Yeah, it's just in the Q&A. I'm just asking all of the options need. Yeah, I'll hand it over to you.
Yep, thank you. Sorry, I was looking in the comments at the side. All of these options need connectivity, because there are different levels of connectivity in the Philippines and maybe in other countries as well too. Are there options for offline? Okay. Anybody want to come in with an answer?
I don't mind going first.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I mean, it's a known reality that, you know, there can be Wi-Fi issues regardless of where people are gaining access to. Obviously, I'm talking here specifically about our programs, and you know, I think there'll be similarities here with Sophia and John as well. You know, we optimize things to be suitable for mobile. So obviously we know that some students will be accessing on mobile devices or tablets, and then also, you know, to be utilized at low bandwidth in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity as well. You know, to a certain extent, with these elements being highly connected elements, I think that everything that's been on the call today has all been focused around technology as a way of driving things forwards. So there has to be some element of connectivity there, but as I said, we certainly work to minimize the load that's required in terms of that connection speed, to make sure that in environments or locations where that can be an issue, that it's the least possible issue it can be.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the, I've spoken a little bit in the past with the representatives from Unibuddy about this. Sophie's come back. Do you want to also say on behalf of Unibuddy, Sophia?
Really echoing what Peter just said, and just to bear in mind as well, you know, they're not required to stream hour-long footage of anything. It really is just exchanging messages on a mobile app or on a browser. So really sort of low bandwidth required there. But yeah, I completely take that into consideration. And obviously the product has been modified to make sure that it only takes up you know, a small amount of bandwidth. So yeah.
Great.
Thanks for your question.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, well, we've got about 5 minutes left. I'll actually end a little bit early. I just want to thank Peter and Sophia for their preparations and their input today and their time. It's fantastic to hear from you, and I'm sure the members have got a much clearer understanding of the GRM challenge and the Unibody, and I hope that they'll sort of engage with both. Thanks, John, for joining and giving a real good insight into our other partnership with Hosco that we everybody knows this is ongoing, and you'll see the benefits of that coming through at the end of the year when we do the feedback on this. All of these are new initiatives. All of these have started this year. We've been very active, so please bear with us if it doesn't go exactly as you imagined, or but we started all these processes, and I say we're rolling them out. They'll all continue through next year, and we'll add to them. But I just want to leave you all the members with the thought that this is just what we're doing from our perspective, what's required and what's good for the members. If you've got any requests in terms of with further or suggestions in terms of further benefits, please let us know, because that's what we want to do. We want to continue to develop these partnerships, continue to develop these benefits, and together enhance the quality of the provision that you provide. So that's what we're here for. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks everybody for the participation today. I've certainly learned a lot, and I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully everyone else. So have a great day or evening or whatever. Thank you.
Thank you.
And goodbye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye now.